2 synth releases in a row. Tre Audio just released Atomika, an emulation of a weird, rare and very dirty Soviet synthesizer from the 80s. Its sound is very raw and has a lot of character, and I just love it. In fact, I believe this might be one of my favorite Tre Audio synthesizers to date. Now, on the surface it looks pretty simple. It has 2 VCOs, and VCO1 can be frequency modulated by VCO2. Besides that, it has one LFO, a filter envelope, and an amplitude envelope. Now, what made this synth unique and what Tre Audio is enhancing was all about the filter. It was here where you could get those dirty, gnarly, and crazy tones. Before I forget, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. Now, what Tre Audio did was to go several steps ahead and give us many different controls to build the distortion tone that we want. I mean, for starters, we have the filter drive, which will feed more signal to the filter stage. With this, the resonance starts going out of control, it even starts getting less sharp, and of course, it adds a lot of harmonics to the signal. What's even crazier is that when you go to the maximum level, and if you use a bandpass for instance, you won't actually be filtering too much signal, because you will still have low end and high end, thanks to all the energy that's introducing. Now, the other control that they added is the starve, and honestly, I'm not sure what it does. I know that everything becomes a little bit darker, but at the same time, the filter starts going crazy. The only thing that I find to be a bit similar maybe is the brute factor on many synthesizers by Arturia. So maybe it's something similar, which can be a weird type of feedback, but they actually have their own secret formula that they don't want to reveal. So we have both parameters to create a unique tone with this filter. Of course, you can go subtle with them, so you can add a little bit of instability and harmonics. Now, the interesting thing is that the levels on the mixer for oscillator 1, 2 and the noise will actually change how these other parameters react. And that's logical because these levels are what you're feeding into the filter. Now, this alone already makes me love this synth because I love to destroy sound and create unique things. But it even has another stage where you can add distortion. Because as you can see here at the left, we have an amp drive. So everything that comes out of the filter, we can actually feed more of it to the amp stage. And this will give us another stage of distortion. Now, for instance, you can increase the amp drive without the starve and without increasing the filter drive and feed a resonant filter to it. That way you have this saturated resonant filter kind of sound that I just love. So you have many combinations to get many different types of distorted sounds. Now, that doesn't mean that you cannot program more mellow and lush stuff, especially, as I said, if you go subtle with all of these parameters. Now, as you can see, everything has their own modulation amount, which is actually for the LFO. I will give away 15 presets to my channel members and to my patrons, so consider joining one of those platforms. Thank you so much. All of this on itself make this synth very unique. It's a sound that I haven't heard on other analog emulations. But Tre Audio also wanted to give us effects and even arpeggiator. They didn't include a distortion here because, of course, you can have the distortion with all of the other features I already mentioned. They add a phasor, a flanger or chorus, an echo or delay, and a reverb with many types, including the galactic reverb. The only thing that I would love here is to have a mix knob on the phasor. I'm sure there's a reason why there isn't, but the change in sound is very drastic and sometimes I just want a little bit of that stereo movement. The effects are pretty straightforward, I don't have to go deep with them, but you can see that each one also has this effects modulator, because as you can see on the left we have an effects modulator, which is another LFO, which will add movement to different parameters of the effects. And this is another movement besides the built-in LFO from the phasor and the flanger and chorus. And for the echo and the reverb, this modulation affects the time. Finally, the arpeggiator is pretty standard. Again, I don't think I have to explain too much of it, but it's nice to have it, especially because you can use this synth to create very acid kind of sequences, similar to the ones on the TB-303. So, as I said, I like this synth. I've been using it to make mostly basses and leads, but you can do whatever you want. It has a lot of character and it also has a lot of low end, so it's all about high energy all over the spectrum. Let me know your opinions in the comments and I will see you next time. Bye bye.